What's going on YouTube? Uberman here. So I've seen some videos from other creators, I've seen questions, and I decided I need to make as short but comprehensive of a video as possible relating to what kind of car should you get for ride sharing. I recently saw a video on the Entrepreneur's channel, so shout out to him, go check him out, where another vlogger, I believe it was Drive Girl Drive on YouTube, go check her out. I hope I'm right about that. But fairly new car, like 4 years old, transmission failure at 60,000 miles, now stuck with number one, car payments, and number two, needing a $4,000 transmission. What do you do? That's what we're going to get into today, and my answer is you don't. If you are financing a car, you probably should not be doing ride sharing. Now, I understand a lot of people are in desperate situations, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So while a lot of people maybe wouldn't naturally jump into ride sharing with their nice expensive car, it seems like easy money, an easy way out of a difficult situation, but it is anything but. Now, as long as things go the way they should, and there's no issues, no damages, no accidents, no component failures, you're good to go. The problem with cars are that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individual parts that make up the motor. The same thing with the transmission. There's several parts that make up your suspension system as well. So any one of these components fail and the car fails, well, that's huge. And when you add the stress of ride-sharing, driving commercially, most of these cars are not designed for commercial use. So when you put that added stress onto them, they can fail prematurely. And then what? Then you are stuck with a car payment and an expensive car repair that you can't afford to fix, because if you could afford to fix it, you wouldn't be ride-sharing in the first place. So how do you avoid this major pitfall? Let's talk about insurance real quick. This is something a lot of people don't know anything about. If you are found to be at fault in an accident while ride sharing, Uber's deductible is $1,000. So you have to pay that $1,000. Lyft's deductible, $2,500. Now let me ask you something. Do you have $1,000 set aside in case there's an accident with Uber that you're responsible for? Do you have $2,500 set aside in case there's an accident on the Lyft platform that you're responsible for? What happens if you're involved in a hit and run? You have to cover these deductibles. If a passenger causes damage to your car, kicks your car, hits your windshield and smashes it, that deductible, you have to pay that. So if it's $800 in damage, you're not going to get a check from Uber or Lyft. That's coming out of your pocket. Do you have that money set aside? Probably not, because again, if you did, you wouldn't be doing rideshare. Now, of course, that's not applicable to everybody. Some people do rideshare for fun and they've got plenty of money, and that's great. So let me tell you the best way to avoid all of these major pitfalls. Only use a car you own outright. Only drive if you can afford the $1,000 or $2,500 for Lyft deductible. Period. I would highly recommend using cars that you see regularly used in fleet usage, such as the Toyota Prius. That's a very popular car. You see taxis using them all the time, and that is a key. What cars do taxi companies use? What cars do you see police departments using? Chevrolet Impalas, Chevy Caprices. Yes, believe it or not, I don't know if they still make them, but they were for a while making a new generation of Caprice. There are some cars that are used primarily for fleet. So check into that, because those are the cars that are probably going to be built bulletproof to handle the stress of commercial use. Now, a lot of people are concerned with depreciation. That's a huge one. And the newer car that you use and the lower mileage of a car you use, the more your car is going to depreciate, the more money you're basically going to lose. You need to find an older car. My recommendation, personal recommendation, is find out what Uber and Lyft and or Lyft's requirements are for a car in your market. Find a car that's maybe 2 or 3 years newer than the oldest car they will allow you to use on the platform. This way, you've pretty much already lost any depreciation. The car is not going to depreciate much further, so when it comes time to resell it, or if the time comes that it breaks and it's beyond repair, it already lost its value. So who cares? Find you something, I would say, personal recommendation, under $4,000 to $5,000. Something relatively cheap. There's a lot of reasons for this. Number one is depreciation. Number two will be parts availability. Used parts, secondhand part availability. You get a much newer car, you're going to pay a premium for parts and repairs, maintenance. You stick with something older, you can find those parts everywhere. You can have a transmission bought on eBay and delivered to your door. Okay? I can find parts for older cars all day long. An engine, $500-600. A transmission, $300 to $400, and that is with shipping delivered. All right? You still got to pay somebody to put it in. But the older the car you get, the better chance you're going to have of finding aftermarket parts or used components for that vehicle at a greatly discounted price. And that will go a long way in making or breaking your bank account. So that's my recommendation. Find something just a couple years newer than what the platforms allow so that you have a couple years to get good use out of it. When you're done with it, sell it. If it breaks, you can fix it cheap. I do not recommend you take a new car out for rideshare. If you are leasing a car, financing a car, I do not recommend this because most cars were not built to withstand the constant stress of driving stop-and-go city traffic trips. They're just not built for this. They're built for occasional use or occasional road trips, not for constantly hitting potholes and curb checking, etc., etc., etc. And no matter what car you drive, you better make sure you have that deductible in the bank account in case something happens. Because a lot of people have a misconception that anything happens, Uber or Lyft are going to pay for it. No, they will not. There are many cases where the driver is either at fault or it's a hit-and-run accident where you can't find the party responsible. You are going to pay. A passenger damages your car. A lot of times, that comes out of your pocket. And that can really be a huge headache, strain to someone. And if you're relying on rideshare to pay your bills, this is a big, big mistake. You could end up carless and jobless. And what are you going to do then? You would be better off going and getting a job wherever, Walmart, Burger King, McDonald's, something that provides you a regular paycheck. Now, that's not to deter you from doing Uber and Lyft, but that is the fact that you need to understand. This is a huge liability unless you're prepared for it. So use due diligence, do a lot of research, watch a lot of videos, and please heed my advice because I could be saving you a lot of headache in the future. I hope this video finds you in good spirits, good health, and good finances. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, stay safe out there. Uber and Lyft on.